with love shines through your golden moonlight and your bountiful sea. Palau, my island, you are heaven to me. Palau, my island, paradise of the sea, beautiful people, so strong and free. We give our hearts to you, whether young or old. I pledge my life to you, for you are my soul, my emerald island, in splendor called to you. Its ranges endless, where love shines through your golden moonlight and your bountiful sea. Palau, my island, you are heaven to me.
Ay malungil itasin se kumama malungil tanga taguk musbela president kukme kesteral afternoon ngora wilar mam nam kutu mem nam kutu bangal mam morgim butoka gel question gidil l'ensel mo katuk maka ngel imol bulura at ay gal toksyon noru le nga nguterte aleman lenga sulame president mo se emno sper ba me kuk adadu ay gel maklabal kul to ngel belaw di era de bot el toksyon gide personally going a sulame me so emno attend sel memorial la Francis. It was an honor account. Akmin sa kaun man masang ikira o kompleso is we kill mon momrek mang family na ka man appreciate ka. Ngon mo lise do mo man sumong ko nga niya to bet sa somlik mong ig mamadi nga tiya dio. Sige da pabiling ila maangin mang comment ni. Muy na question ni. Mo dek pas ka ordion.
Hindi ako tulul maral misulang na invitation. المرتيال تي ام سي مقدوك هذا دو دي مسؤول الانفيتيشن السيد الاتندر تاع الميموريال فرانسيس اوف كورس كمان ما بلو نغا جيل الشام يو نو غاروبا اكتيليس تو اسن دي بلاك تاك ماغي موغا اورال موغا ndi agumbra lo asesel gotel mlara ngur rape kel tema se ndi swal sel wil girera. And I think that should always be the they got stand up for what we believe in. You know, I think say the legacy of Francis. Sumo mrara to you go all the way. El fight el girel sel mo mrani. Sea kumula la government el sel. So you know, one of the things I want to begin with gotrule man mutel tale o susra ibdul maraklay marubugul belao bilung ebiraklay mar basil belao president of senate hokons paules marugul senators speaker kanay marugul delegates governors lators marbekal other belao ligida mral ngal tanga telengo ogiam lidiu leng degadil el sel belao michael belao sed el madadura ngal gede sel kumrani wasen total you know it's Thanksgiving ngari adul gerna alwase akplan amrigel atogena wase come celebrate Thanksgiving tende kal holiday amrigel makase no tia holiday kamam lagi agi mesa sing ungil toy lang we should be thankful oh kada ngira dan mana asule da ngira dan mana asaura igel lungil toy al ngari irgil غطروا لنا من رسول ديوس الواضح للياق البلو اليغر البلو you know I was in Qatar لم تير يدرا أسألوك development conference topic education lifting you know gospel education how it can transform or lift people out of poverty And I couldn't help myself. So in one of the meetings, I shared a story radama. And how missionaries, Pastor Toribio, change the Klangari Israel, get it over the school, model school, Malmakatek time, and came back to school and was failing in all its classes. Pastor Toribio, Pastor Burton at the time, I'm like council of Angela, say, 5th grade, and the guy getting moved to my 2nd grade. I said, Melama Sera, Malamo Grandpa. But and his time in front of the courthouse, Modera Klangel Imalo, Mr. Dictionary, tried to figure out how to read his book. But Nosel graduated and went all the way to college. Because Rsel Klomrani was the most important thing. Klomra Dios, on Yerung Adalo Shakriase, go to school. Bring order. I get 3 principles. If you want people to lift the Raklangarti, education is the key. And then of course, just like when I was in UAE, Ali, Abela is only 20,000 people. What is it? Well, even less Akira Ablura at that time. 17. We have one vote, we have one voice. Of course, October Bitara, President of Brazil, my Prime Minister Norway, I got Maclol Bulu, and got Prime Minister Norway during her addressing and recognize the leadership, protection of the oceans. And the leadership that we have worked on together. And then of course I got gidat magaloro to climate change. Of course blue. And then we came to Washington DC. Got Vice President Vance, Assistant Secretary Haig, ngel wal ngel cantor ngel wal ngorar sel interior ngorar belao mal lesual mer belao me miskit sel grant the $20 million grant el gira la tola pension ya se tema la umeo brigading arter Washington DC ko dosirgo
nulo chegams ko
well they're going to wire the money ndi mlese el check
na mo mereka baggage
so it's on its way. I don't know not more account and there the sel grant already temna approving the elaga pensioner udlem kamdang elo ase ngare get reform required el girela olvira glular mul so apart the requirement tram regela ase agingwa 20 million mscow mo tungira bank account and earn interest e kamingira pension lo ase olvira glulang pasralla asum olvira glular de pasralla e 2027 e return tilalo do plus interest. But in some ways that's a good thing because time we cannot take action and we need to continue to make progress and we need to take action. That's so we need to debate these issues, we need to discuss them. So one of the things that Tilura Hega Kwase Olbil can pass a law now with some ideas. We're going to have an economic symposium or a march. And we're going to bring the consultant here. See the time we'll ask our pensioners, and then we sit down and they will go through the different exercise. Change our retirement age and increase our percent. Impact. So as a community as a whole, and we chart our path. What are you going to do? No. A choice. Dito ase reform di make sure ase ngel dirga silis sa barela al sils ani odo don moring ra traklam se. Siangar alem. Engar alem. I see. So I kadirigal noriat level I had two other meetings ngel Osombre ngel Assistant Secretary of State East Asia. So cover basically ASEAN countries, Pacific Rogir. Hopefully be coming to Palau sune. Ask issues belau ngarai important the priorities. Of course kita compact is in place. They re-emphasize the importance of veterans. El time they pass a budget. Of course, we talk about the new hospital. Important issues. We also had the opportunity to meet JD Vance, Vice President Vance. So I was able to meet him as UXIL President. We talked about global issues, but more importantly, our role in America Pacific. One of the reasons I'm invite in Merbela Girela PIF for next year. The highest level of government in America is PIF. Hillary Clinton and Secretary of State. So ترجع ديمقراطي لا قد أخرى ريبابليكان منوتر مولا على كرسل اللي كمان الأدر بلا أكتوبت صادر ويل رجيف موتين مرابل الأدر سه your heart is in the right place.
إغار ريبابليكان.
ده.
كم لم ريبابليكان.
أدر بلا. كده di suada balua
di suada
America and make sure that all the issue here. So one of the things of course Vance Ngel Deputy National Security Advisor, his name is Andy Grove. Nge narsel meeting black meeting sira ukpor America sa summer. Nge mlamay gertinga the more Vance. And one of the issues in Upnesol Vance I say we're working on veterans. We want to make sure our veterans are maigel nge sortir, especially when it comes to medical care. So, of course, Mr. Rice, I say it's in the budget bill. Passaria all bilang amo will. Of course, at the passaring. Hindi tiga di continue o kumbre ka budget tira January 21st makasi kita other bill ako so them subay gid star other amri.
Gid hindi ka pasa budget gid.
Hindi ka pasa budget a conference committee I think has not come up with a compromise. And it is unfortunate. Kita amdengel was sera da pasara continuing. Mala alas tila da do en mligrel di talbu ile todo silmeri. And of course, kadulo ay sertil was one of the challenges we have. Because of the increase in salary, we're going to run out of money. So I have basically two options that I'm faced with. One, I start more 72 hours. Start an exit payday more 72 hours. Or kada di ko sa December 13 kada lay offer other role. I think kada continue long iter other role bira kulula lo ase. It's eminent.
Important. Siya ko takloli incredible.
Kada long iter til ase ngai gets amle babili ada mortil long iter til ase me mograda telul edi the focus raigel a budget e me do sa da telul rauriul. I think sigida you know, abibira time unang mombring raigal manan mal butokat telul. Kada mali mo focus ra ase tigida idi sira udodol desal doba tigida se adar gorgoringi ay gida program liged gutmo meda gatmo. Of course nga maktiri kamle parte sel telul laktilur tiro ase modakiara tokora pension modakiara tokora SS ra alsel matadim legote ongil laiger telul. Dito ko lalo abes el tulul. Medang agri rogulas. Medang tulul el me. The pasara budget.
Edemura tulul.
Edemura tulul. Mang sige dakora ongiten. And you know I think aknar meng sera sera adra olbila la momit raklu. Godol iter. Tida se basically tadi pasara conference committee report kandona process. Tagongeni sign both houses association en mergide en sedel saneri al sumang nakman at tulul. This one at tulul of course a process I get the referring delay. So I hope
tiamal muskasil to tiang kora mas ben mo misiksikte.
Oh ay active kilo ase holidays. Umra lo ase close to trelal al other ungila day skipping ertir ma family day lo ngelo ase tasel ba akla. E dire kan maral mer Christmas we want to make sure tasal ba akla.
Dito ko sa ka olab mura house o madra senet.
Na olab mura other bela.
Sa September dori man o molta kalor raw. Maul mo na mura house mo. Algo ko dik mura house was mo tubdi tiar el ito tubdi mas senet mo sila.
Gid ulingit tertira September dori lo ase. Bom ad adu emsam aklitiam من the budget bill الرول bill
Nga manuot
se elektam le titan mo albangara yun el alsils
Waise.
el tira adrablul mo sweba karandi
President ng ngaram bilgula continuing resolution ngara kakaraw sila continuing budget restial bela dia ada longora ringi especially adra legislative branch armutun dia ka continuing resolution. Di ay ga urgent ito ko yung gira di mitin ila makluko kumangyaos.
waisi
Di mo ko complete kita telo am na experience ay gil waisi.
waisi
Ngaram to ko ra malax di ka.
well
Kung di ka bamda society important mi other bela.
no I think in the lax I think still to compromise.
Adi ka sil ko ngeli.
Oh, so they need to be able to work together to come up with a compromise. And I think, kita ito ka nga bol age limit bol 65, ka reform ra pension, mga raktel budget bill ito kasi president monungul, monger dagal telul. Makasi bata do ger de kami bom pasa separate la.
Om seblam ngeri so ko to tay.
Oh, makasi moger to kamla moger.
Nga ka laxel tulong mo ko experience. You should be in a closed door.
Yeah.
Hindi ka may milimaran mo mo freshen up may continuation ado le.
Well,
na mo do ide sil dia ka ngaran.
and then kita nangar olbil. Albebira time. Alsuma arterul chairman anam da sil agree.
Kita pull out mo bes.
Okay. Elen burgula sen dekat the reach compromise.
Waisi.
I mean that's the process. Nga da speaker da president ra senate ndi I got part of the process.
Process.
Oh,
important tan adra padu.
oh. Sige. So kita amal dito kasi mem focus ra anit sira adra I've submitted so many reports. This is the most reports request akme submit ra imora report mo ra President ra Senate, may request ra Senator Rodim, makple sendringin mo basically same information repeated different format enim lamong. Ngaregel askel you really need to wait for the audit report so let's focus on the issue. Ngariaw daw nobody questions us ngariaw daw. Instead of proposing 152 million, exactly. Ela raka tamla korkoringa 152 million. Usually, sel the korkoringa ela rak. Adang alak reason next year. So, about the proposal yadi same level email rak. So, to me, those are the questions that get asked. So, ngara olbil, mesayal priority kami. If we cannot compromise priority kami priority gidra awingel teludo, at least I get major blood agree. Let's let them go. Melurur takabalment terur tawrer ayun to borayel al minor. That's the way I look at it. Kadam langar all being understand the process. Maybe at time I think sige. Akti share a story. Bilim lamra la senator Isaan. Hindi nga remember at time nga kami chairman na Ways and Means sa Senate, ingat chairman na House. Sergi po ra conference, nga ko tumteta nga rele adra fight mga di ngoro rigid. Di plom tigir tiagi del toy. Ang plom tigir yun wasi. Kata kagir del arguing ra segad. Result arguing ra segad. Nga ngamla otabo ile diyan si el move. Abot askin mo change rule mo dal sebel. Akplom may siya the best solution adil mo. Bere mo lang ngoro mo mrek morsel soan. And then mo mrek agi recess. Was okay, understand. Medmitra a museum. Agi mo a museum. Akpan gigoga explain and one by one I get reason seriye. Yes, okay. Dak akluwe agi tamul subakli. And that's what happened.
Sete may compromise.
Oh. Elect mo yan kasi unfortunately because of YouTube TV git sel to tabo ide blado retail kadala show gotten bring it gidra marka klaigel blado do this is reality
Humanity.
yeah ndi kal swadar mo dame sel ndi kal swadar for me it's okay to admit I'm wrong, let's fix it, let's compromise, but some people ada kasi mga aklay.
Waisay.
Agim lak mulo aseng waisay mong di man mol. And that's hard. Oh, mong akti share ayegit because I think about di kada bang ari ore misel hey, we're in the Thanksgiving spirit,
Yeah, sure.
we're in the Christmas spirit. We need to be forgiving, we need to be understanding, and I think I got about to di sel der so the niya also makaran der other order rabbit calcins. Kasi masura
But you're saying, assume di ngaran marula, nga
Yes.
lal the closest tel government.
Waising. That's a given.
It was in December 14.
Well, there's two,
Let's say before the end of the year.
there's two ways to do it. We were thinking was one of the options as tatel. Lo ngitrado se morior, el 80 hours, and di mo per kamul 72 hours. That's one way of doing it. Lo ngitrado finally when la pass la budget, the more reimburse kamul. That's one option. The other option was well,
Padolungul.
December 13 na dolungul. Hindi nga kumra lo se, you know, kasi kami experiencing na September 30.
Waisay.
There's always the midnight hour mo. Kumra lo se olbira kalula amdang langar alir. And sometimes sel urgency a force a compromise. And maybe that's what we need.
Waisay.
So leng dimla ka deadline. One open till deadline kadol message hindi ka compromise. But now they have to compromise because they have to make a decision.
Waisay.
So-
December 13 or face ra other way out.
I think that's a simple way of looking at it. We need to move.
President kami ukubora. Ngari pa bila subject around magidil toy kan.
It's good.
Tigal dia ko sa refugee akmo ira babira Senate, temno ira babira Council of Chiefs.
Yan naman sa program Landau.
Emnam sa programa Landau. Where are we?
Okay. So, hindi ka malungil. You know, one of the things that Sir Miguel, we had an opportunity to meet Landau, and we meet the immigration lawyer, so we can get a better understanding and say, what are we talking about? What kind of people are we talking about? So, Sel explanation or Miguel. Shoot, I forgot my phone. There's a term that they use.
Third country national?
No, third country national, but there's another term. Musubes hale. Ngari exact term los perianga. That's why I want to find it.
Deportees, asylum seekers, refugees.
So, astaru sortir selam turam rigel. Waise al sumun sam lo siga asylum en selam gira dram rigel en gira mel declare lo siga asylum.
Waisay. Rim multiple embassy.
Okay. Tirga nga adim na kalwaise. Tirga mlakkiram rigel tarra ngerura. Ya immigration amol matigertir. Maseral matigertir et tekmula se kamang artiale yo siga asylum le agibora abluma abu saif ol degeta karamang. So there's a term for them. They're called Tangaram Rigel under Astarus, they're withholding without for removal. So tigawal nga limbo. Nsil kiram Rigel orior ndi ngirid mo lutur mablurir. Ndi ulnda sil mo lutur mablurir am Rigel falora seluk
Protector tier.
human rights and they can see all the rokertil morablul mora baralsel. Say a problem ram Rigel. Di Rigel omra lo se tigaw na tangar se tigaw sigaw orior.
Din timlang lo tirak lala.
Nimla tirak ralla ara immigration. So kita mengel to kara hori pingan ngarbelaw. E ma tourist visa ta mo orabal brablo ablurir matamal seguida. So that's the type of people they are. Now amrigel amla akmulo ase. Tigel egor belaw kotrul kami ang mga sa list 30. You get to review their background. You get to choose wase tegong on dia. You have the right to refuse them. Tedri kam lak mori del wase. Triga legor belau. Adia the only violation that they have at Tilur Amrigel illegally. Well, technically now they're not there illegally. They're there because in the in Morme. So actually in there is no, they have no criminal record. So that's
I'm not clear.
Tigam lak clear. So most likely at Temlangaram Rigel at a minimum 1 year. Lengirim langalakra 1 year. They declare asylum lapsel window. Some of them have been Ngaram Rigel 20 years, 30 years. Tirga ule tirga ngaram Rigel order under a work permit. Kmed why get other bela ngaramu. Alugot pay tax. Di dekal eligible a food stamp, dekal eligible a retirement, dekal eligible. Ayer rogul healthcare dekal eligible. Tidi eligible lower. That's their status. Mang Amrigera akongelo ase. Akpa agim dega sen sensitive issue ra blur bela. Temla akongelo ase. We can send 10. You can see how the 10 people do. So it's acceptable. Then we send another 10. That's the process. They did one time, I give send there 75 level. But remember, through the process and all throughout the process, Maria right to come stop any time. That's the agreement that we have.
Sa screener til wase.
Yeah. Masa background there tiro singara rural planning. Malsum ko mesal wase inga construction worker or some other construction. So cell committee, part of cell working group committee, among other screen omes. El sumat they were saying go to spare other assets, for example. And so them like other assets. So spare other lower hotel. So them like other lower hotel, other spare construction. Bla ngaria atok tangal liga, tunggal tok tangal mega. We will look over it. The other meeting I had when I was there with Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff, Trump all time. If you've seen him,
I'm tough.
He's very tough.
He's a tough guy.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. Actually, in Kirabe Israel all time, bikrak lang aring ilen. Aring til, gar Charlie Kirkle below seeing ya. Ma interesting sila ba bok mitri Chef Farok masih. Ilaman kita serima omong katamal dimol kadi rings leng our suspicion was in gaswan mo do rigid tial to we have to be grateful of course Zelensky amal dil sara TV lo setia tongara tele. So anyway agibo we went to the West Wing at the White House di ngadi obviously at Oval Office ng Abita. He spent 1 hour with us. Mal interesting tell me thing, he's the nicest guy. Nga ogera rogul question girel bela ma everything from our culture to are you losing your language, how can we help parangana ogero was emagrad help parangana. So he was very interested raiger rogul dos perablur bela mga kamal emphasize rani der hospital. More said lasted 5 minutes. Yasi, President. Ka understand was bela amal sa lilam rigel. Mam rigel amal counter kita. Agi osper kami osper kami. Mugira dal el gay ngasyo. Ngase. Ay la rogul blamo sa amal disel mo toy. Amal di ngosu ko mam. Di kami barata pralis. Makasi that's the reality.
You might say.
Eleng basically ngobating la President Rablo Miguel merigi de lo hace. Help per kamam. The sky is the limit. Basically that's what he's telling me.
So hindi ngara limited to the member ko ngasum sorry lower
asum sorry lower
to spare labor process
lower. Yeah. Egida gida mo review lo hace. Alsum kada mo sender tin morme ende kan mo arabara blure.
So that more ngari auto to bangkel 100,000 tala.
Dakal elang gida separate tegal to ko. Ayero dalo do tegala. Ndekal wa Uyghurs. So we have to erase the segidal concept. Saludo, Americamente Bella. Now, Gida said Rosperil assisted Gida, for example. We need more money for police, then maybe this is a challenge for us. We need more money for immigration, it is a challenge for us. We need more money for education, I don't know. We can be creative. You decide what's important. For example, we need them to stay somewhere for 30 days while they find employment. You can use it for that.
So in rule of leading there.
Hindi ako nangan mo bliri. No, no, hindi ako rule bliri.
Asum kaya uro lego ka kamurura bili.
Ka ang inul employer ka mga elemelo provider. No. So teludo audo del belaw. Sell proposal 7.5. Sell additional 6 million ma pension. Mudo del didungul pseudo do der belaw. And then tira dire ka miskita 2 million assistance. Help pergider tiyan mga mother gider atora adrak sama ishura ablur belaw. So those are the assistance البسكيت السيبريت تريال
تلقى laborers
مقرا 15 million
15 and a half yeah
15 and a half okay
and then قدم نيان واسي السوم قدم ويرتير for the next 3.5 years and maybe a Trump will find money لغت مكلي hospital because they can yeah, they can. So I get that. So you know, when I look at the issue, I say, "Kotrul, kita ablul lomoral." I think kada blur Allah. We like to take care of people. Kadung irarad. So da man mal toy. Tiang teal kada help problem amrigen of course ngari help primera blur belo ediri kal help pringel ad I think much better for them to come here albora Uganda or albora Eswatini so ngari opportunity diri kal help para to me it's an opportunity for a win-win. Everybody wins.
Marshall ma FSM.
Namo 50 blue blal sana. And I offer a below because of our relationship. They're not offering it to Bekel Blue, and that's why I get them more clear. Selling yes, wala lo maskid el degal lududir tigela. Degabol.
Kidil giring to sing as tawering asulit.
Adam. It's because of our partnership. Mudo spell mat mokrabel wade ada help particular mungil. Hindi mo kasi kami ang area processor kami. Muiti trileo ndur timlo. Now, to say alsum te ko rablur belaw e decide o sensorin morme. Ngarea process ay fandra ayo metol duro kortin morme.
Okay.
Alsum tirir kier belaw. Disum te kye
decided
nga se ali kom el malar 75 el tira mo quiere ver trial di men mara la de dom tira 75
at any given time ding area 75
after 1 year trial
suma mo tira mara kada si gas all
sige da
tiang ko ramal tak to tiang ngaram lo dari awal mo grok tiang mal monday
مقرا الملو هذا
سيل قلت الميتيال تقوين تلين غريام نجري المرور كم لك أقول لو كم غرا قلت له كلاي غمسة
دي أو لا الأمريكا العملة أولية تريد وسيجوس بأجنسو This was back in June ملاني أدرافت الأجريمنت البنسكير سيدا بلاد دوريم قدم لك كلاريفاير تيل أجريمنت المرا أمباسادور ما أقولهم لا يسيل كورا أمين تين لو بقول لك ملأ سؤال أقول لك ملأ أسكر على ليدرشيب المياه سي تذكر روجوه يدوغرين بول كليرا أو ده سويت يجد توب ده يجي السبب كرينا يجي.
So you understand all this all along?
Yeah. So a process I say ملا قدمنا تو يجي الرجل ده بيجي كري ملا قدمنا هذا سن مرام أمريكا لاملا أسيم ده قايلا يم قطمق لا يجي ده يم قطمق الرولي من مودهم لا ده قبيك and we're partners so we're gonna help you. دي masih Alsum because before Almerat تمسكي داودو ديتو أسي Alsum دي 10 أقوم stop دي قصي اللي براودو عليهم نوتريت أجي على رجيب برات you know كذا
هذا الأمور كامل هذا بدون أمور
Di ka matanggal sa ito mo 375 may.
أمرين
Suel,
ما
di sa.
Ngayon 6,000 and other blue kaya ba since even mas Stephen Miller akmo nga kasi mga ngarasen mal concern mo kasi di ka madiri ka ko mal bigi kritikal na Africa magir mera ablu ma mangasi en so mga other gear mo kasi hindi ka nga mal so ka ada na huri ping ma ingase don't worry tiga mo ada huri ping mar ada Vietnam mar ada Indonesia agi mas kmalis te kom choose oh ma
Okay. Sige.
kasi tiga me ada suga
Ay, si.
Di we know so they've been able and so this is just part of their overall policy el pentra siya singen ngel adal nga rabel wala umda siya avoy direct radial lang makara kumartan kan mga brigel bom modengero kasi agyosi krole kan mutul top bla kome bom through a right process I mean that's di wa igida kada se opera blumam molti rakralla so that's it's a deterrence. Really, what we're working on is it's all about deterrence. Hindi wa amakamat. Kita dekal so amakamat. How do you prevent amakamat? Make sure you're prepared. Ano amakamat? May nga dekal amakamat.
Presidente Kamala, katilom del modibus lero Sunday ngede Sunday.
Meron Sunday, but anyway, okay.
Blong wa, hotel din masada tel aldimra. Kukta tukura refugees. Kung dasang mal takral da. Di ko ay sa kaulas kung lasa ko tululin din nakal pero kung lamit ko para close story ka kung law mo mata aruba may kang mo ralta mo kursi adam din so eso na segida
kahala di bod blak takla kadam le mit kin maruba ke kalululaw oh why say hindi tiga ruba ka ukngani you know active la takla a campaign am nombre era November last year Hindi sel nga dinga intela campaign e bladatura bes government e dolo ba kisi ruba ka loro gara a presidente in de kalungil to
Ese family affair.
no akta you know kamla uli ma I have to be very honest we saw it tercera gimitra al sela aiga maktilura amada nga buko dolo ase ka de ka montera rubugul belaw ele gimnar se closed door meeting ka ma te dobra ruba ka asore na da kantinun masa vertial to Hindi ka sila wan ruba kan masakata tingira restaurant ruba. Hindi opinion ako. I don't know if you remember. Kada ngwil da takliten mo rablu. Kita amna al sila COVID. Why say? Magada il dali ablu mo masakata COVID ra amayo. Kabla sen tangel mo do or Ali arubul bela hotel important aror advisor ra president. Hindi ka dapat aseg, edo politics, edo ba sel platform ng to ka president. To me, that's not what advisors do. Advisors are mera president kasi president tiyan ang wildo, the subi tiyan, edrelil mongil, kada mo rapling ilay kang ingase. Ako tao daw dong ko tarat. Understand ra ko ni eh. Makatangara amayo. المصادر تيار تقرا كوفيد الترال اكسبلين مر ادرابلو اسنغرا بروسيس كيدا ملا فاكسينيت ترابلو بلا ملا بريبيريد مر توختان سيمون توختان الين نيرا ايتي ما غبرنور روبرتس ما دكتور كوارتير بور ماتريال ادرا سي دي سي ارسي لولا باروغول انفورميشن المقتقرا ميتي هيلب ادرابلو ما اندرستاند مو مكلورين لو اسي الال بلا بريبيريد ان مر ما كوفيد ملا كذا we're going to make it through and let's work together to get it Ngirme, Dr. Bostrom, if you remember his statement, and Dilora, Mother Modo say, I'm sorry, the horses left the gate. Closer askoyi malakal berbelaw, esel closer niya, modekal si el megar, modekal si el mertochtang mehel priid, hindi tial COVID armor al sel ablur belaw. The other thing, community spread, it's not going to do anything. Hindi, why would you at a public meeting? Eka modo orem, modo dulway say. We did the same thing at Tiatora refugee. Why send them? We did exactly the same thing. Maula radrablo moraran rin as leaders, and get that makalogrio. Arubul bela nga ako timura arubul bela. But ngira mo understand ra ro bugul bela. Tirga advisor ra president. Hindi ka di mo ra ingok ra government. Tirga ali I don't know. Kana understanding ka ra wat melala. Tiada kal Senate, tiada kal House. Matebloal mo sa bela say. So mama leadership meeting hal. Kami advisor ra president. Mansuma ni leadership meeting and maybe we'll invite you to the leadership meeting. The leadership meeting, my understanding of the leadership, agirel president, all of bira kalulaw at makan sa leadership meeting. Arubugul belaw, mar governors, mar leitors, se uknet letter Tamil invited til melol dalakra olbil. Di nga ako til molor olbil umral wase to work with OEK, ingirel president mo olbil adadu. Hindi ako ba arubugul belal mel dalakra olbil. No, that's say politics ra tami. No, ingirel mo blak takler I think maybe that time we little bit get confused. Hal bodo sa other omul. Mal puto ka mabili na rubugol belal melase. So mama meeting al girela ato attraction. So mama meeting al girela. So mama call meeting. What are you talking about? Kadis tatara yagi dele state of the Sora. Number 5 Sora deliver. In those 5 Sora, diri ka tamil mera imol Sora amadang bugo. Not a single one. T-shirt ayam kadamo raigel meral tritilla latoy. Say a disrespect lo listening ya rubugul belaw el meranga al president rubugul belaw. In disrespect el dekal beranga al president, disrespect el moral other belaw rogui. That's what I see is the problem. Ikadam na mere it goes on too long. So kadakan tinur tinagi the same thingy. Angir turong ang tera rubugul belaw mera meeting. Kami asing recently mga ara klaro lewa bilingan na melo asay. Angir turong ade kalu tira ko meeting. Engkang lang mamadara rubugul belaw. Hindi na kaligyan mo balkata karaigal rolls. Tiga ruba ka rogoy. Ang te blurir. Hindi ka raklan madara ngi di ruba ka alset tel blur belaw. Mari budul mi ka tiga ruba. Tiga each ruba ka represent blurir. So ngira del I think
advisor.
Hindi ka lagi. Mnamo solo prida rubugul belaw because kadam lang mga politics lo tuya. Tiga rubugul belaw ngira del mungul tir. Tiga budu darat mol el dabat trir tiga miski dawin advice. Alek share last story mal baderanga. Aki ngara angat pangara a weekend iler adra chaiga mlegrin mesra portana pa. Oise el gira la fishing port. Egidam bangla history ti al fishing port lo ase hotrula adra mrigen amna mel close ra PITI tial ligan ngamlan so mnam da fishing port rebelo so al soadar mrul o mngedra al sela brul bela mnam da sebe adan ndeka place in molger dangi gari so radra shabala ul meso ase what are the other options kudul mesra amdala irai kudul mesra alo mesri no said best agayuk because ngari al mol protect it's safer for harbor. The other thing on message so first time request na mortiro ase hindi kami sa epsigo ray malige edbora epsigo tamlo kami sa tiamal titugal maral meriya deka lungin so tamle decide mo ngat pang albor ngat pang kasi one of the reasons why in sorry ngat pang medram daratoal ongeru ngari aral deka bortura ngidil community ndi direct el moraptulla and then ongede already ngari all el seado lo label lomge kay dial which they need madam transport kal all loban maya so there was multiple reasons that take you the messaging holistic what are we trying to accomplish tidire ko message ase dire kal opportunity to make it a tourism attraction kadang arse dire kal mo kaya kal morang dube and then maybe ngari ko ay sushi restaurant how do we make it a tourism site how do we make it fishing port mela Chaiga says it's a multi-purpose port mang saya arirus tanya tokora Chaiga di ktimo blak takla temela campaign amada nga buko amora adan atmak mo se tial porta de abol toy awulang mumkin tarungo de kamil teruruba akara ngatpang etrial adara Chaiga ogeranga lo ase ngorang ari autongira rubak el gira tial porter ngat pang ma ogera ase tuat aruba om tor tiar portangat pang turuba kangat pang itu asing reklay makase araklay amra dram lago dalo ngat pang mukti klo sa ngat pang but that's his letter and mora adara chaiga more ambassador Asyabal mar adara Asyabal oger tiar question maula the other press conference that mamasado niya kita amlam tamal al blue but ulang direkal gida mamgatakli ang moral wasen direkal appropriate ra adam le president ilang ara rubugul belaw e ospea na legin madayin wase gid sel sum swada migid bas ra qabalment malu min swada mamal isad ra adra outside ikadam ula ba biel ospea igal dongur gid part ra qabalment attack ra qabalment gida madayin wase ada Asyabal sel polomes wase tial qabalment tanam goto etam mabakte mo hands off. And that's, to me, is not right. So, you know, I think enough is enough. We need to focus, rabelwat, e omes ase, nga mal simple ang urato ko. Nga rako trungin girel abalur belaw, mar other belaw. It's mal simple. So I think it's important that we clear the record. Dito sadol di masal. So, to me, Araklay is out of line. Rubugul Belaw, I'm not too aklo. Namo tamlabes na responsibility tir Rubugul Belaw. Gid am no meser tir uling tir ase. Kami amre drablu. Selso mangari adara almema taak malu beteme ang itanya so. Ekdam meser kami ulgot. Nora process kama mamlara meeting alo maglalam daw matat adara Senate matir Rubugul Belam lagi ekmura ngalanda lo ase agi morulia working group madre da working group eta protest sa sending impartra working group ati ang morala kas kede I mean so we have to understand one thing, it's politics.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day adara blur belaw ako rin sa adara blur belaw ase ngarasel aigel concern sa kami grado ngo dere dong atmok make sure kom sel baakla e al sumang ngari ang wil tokol sa rulil help rablur belaw moria sa hospital gid moria gid tokoy ngaramak mo ko tawari a question na kasi ngaramon na gid te alal men adar belaw kadam losto
okay mahal ta ora aldim kamnom liwet me nga aldim relang ngilo erul dartil million me kautan na ais mungil ay
20 million
20 million
pension
Hindi mo maldo lira on el zero.
sila maklolo batili
sir omeng atilom se report lo asi ang dude del nga savings am rigel ang ewal dart madrigel million trawil ais ya tourist belaw amlang mas last month mas ang mutra lang 20 some thousand elang na
hopefully we'll reach 70 by the end of the year
ember ko ya atukora marada blilo sen tumong maarala atmira salmeo ng December.
Napasala. So they're going to get it, yeah.
Mo nga December, naglam tingel wasem nasta tagaragri umira. Sila kablin matungal, which is good. Most il amo
so haladi paska history ra before the tour obviously gila tokora blilio. A previous administration amne soril dingwa utungum stra adram brigen Emro Airport. So one of the first things is at the tour office, the first meeting ni kita ramgela blue rambriger, aktilur terase. Dia atemena national government travelilio. Also men so mil murur airport travelilio. Engir help program ra agut tumari agut national government ko mas amal help program los peri. That's why engari teludo drel al kita mos edel ngum ster adrablilio. Look, twice ser trust fund ra kampak ter ada. First one kampak which is, you know, klangat-tangatan mga blue-ablilio. Akmering asula gobernador atira adrablilio, and I really maldim lulu asya oy tanamora mandara agar kadin mal bring na ngoro do daldim oy ter adralla ingil lakal. Hindi, I'll just give you some numbers. Sir total udo the almost 125 million. Based tara umitela udo dara kampakte. To make sure that it grows every year, ideally you pull 4% out, earn 6%, sell 2% obangel المرأة المقلوة كم يقول طب ترتيال 4% روسبيري سيدا قالوا لي
investment.
متيا سيعمل كان تينيولو سبيرين دقة ولا بغلين المرأة المقلوة مختمس كايديا ولو انت مال دي مطمغي مطان اضرب لي اليوم قالوا دو دير انفست التيكت هسيل هابن 125 million at 4% is 5 million a year ولو انت دي ملان على 5 million a year and next year تنوا 5.1 million نوا 5.2 million هي دي مرال مقلول ده قوله بغلل تسي لو ميرين
By 150 million next 10 years.
Exactly, sabihin. Makura di, was I hoping model sa klomon dahil tirabay si ininvest tayo lududir. So, it brings up the next most important question, mal so amilogeri. Ngari ablugul sila investment conference ra ablura huripi nga ka malomra ra se go to cloud to trade. Because financial literacy, understanding investment, how to use your money, how to save is so important ra development ra blu. Mar other tira ospa egal udo ra be kalsils. So, cloud to trail more tigil mora ra khofa trust fund, cloud to trail mora adra SS, cloud to trail mora adra pension. Tigil money managers amor say so you know nga mo egal meeting girel morira of island liang sometimes in other places. Elang they insiro da kay the meeting and meet to trigger others say. But most importantly, sell knowledge will gain helps them to make better decisions. I'll just give you one example. Although there are a compact 438 million LLCs, at a very minimum, a sell the perin mortigal consultant, mortigal money managers, Rabe Karak Mesentela, over at $2 million. $2 million. So, give the Mangara Trial the pair tira $2 million and Mangara sell do that. Ngira the Mamudu Lomis Rosetiga will already. So sell knowledge el dobal lo me el investment trigita to cloud to trade. And that transfers to all areas. Pero nga se di wala kung dodol gira adang at pangale philosophy di wala usado tiren di akti share story adang at pang mala se lududi matamle invest. Unfortunately tamle invest raw era 2008. Masira invest and you know what happened. Mle collapse sa stock market ra 2009. Matamle gira adang at pang Seral collapse, matira mada otabada ududir. So they lost, I think, a couple 100,000. Temle 600, they dropped more 400. Maltob, etana umrak telmut lara alsen. Eng marok stock market, mese sell time stock market amle 12,000. Sell them was down was 12,000. Amle dropped more 6,000. So it almost lost half of its value. El alsen sige the loss still down. I'm not going 48,000. So I know, maybe that time I talk show. One of the first rules in all this investment, I say, you're investing for the long term. Hindi ka di goradi yoragi motsem da sa aktu am gara Trump e morto do do molang ile se ula ka bay krom lusri. Ako da say two things. Kablolo, alombra sing ase del tamra magit. Ngadi kalse del tamra magit. Ngari am la trade.
Adan din nga.
Pero akong moral was investing in financial literacy is important. Now, it's up to each state government to decide what to appropriate elmo. Pero sa debate ramgela state. Di at the national level, of course, kita akong erti kadra ko fatras fandrek sana ti erti giril mo because they need to be informed. Kadong era adra SS, ma adra pension mo because they need to be informed.
Adan di halig kami sa tel blol mo ko ngil among I need your input on it. O for example, legal hotel tigla adra sinal baby retira mo undesirables. Sabi edro to da gel udo del mara gel hotel mo klaro government kada mega money. Is that a money making deal? Kuktiak dil sa ududi, kadi wasi. I get invest for egal hotel to or. Kadi wasi ala to lo dra compact mind mar egal hotel. Malbol clock la government belau moltrasien moral other belau. Isiga managers and morur terngimang. Akkora rin sa Fiji government tar multo treta elma.
The Fiji government are Chinese junk.
Oo, hindi ko na.
Tumrula ang hotel. Akti.
Kasi ba?
Let's just use an example. I don't think Ocean, whatever, Star, Jinping is, I wouldn't invest in it. It's junk. But anyway.
Hindi siya nang mga kagad appraisal maral nga siya oral.
Yeah, okay. Maybe, very oral, maybe. Yeah. What we need to do, a Fiji government, I mean, I got first class hotel or so sell investment policy has to be America requiring that certain trust fund that will restricted investment. Of course, a pension, my SS, I get funded it, so we have some leeway. And I think makita to ka durang America was maybe mo time till fund number 400 million. Maybe allow us to take 20% of it. Till return expected is based on investing in the stock market. I say, yeah, NDPP, if they're only paying us 2 or 3%, is not meeting the 6% return that we need. Those are the challenges that we face. But if we take an equity stake, we send mo owner til hotel, and of course we can make more like owner. I think some of those questions, malungila, other obligla kalula bor introduce. I mean, I got a president doesn't have to introduce all the laws. Ito ka, agul darsen mortil. Oy, luldaso. Ay ka mal sedet mage egut mok.
Kala de medaba tara ko am del toil akro to trel mo asa adra lulo se la sel blia ko lusun momre ko oy ngarang le kumdelo sa Maria Hiringa manager si IP wasen suril agme asumi bol mereka lal December. Seng momre ka ada business ada construction mungkin mengelas. Selo saya maging sen momre le amraire wasen la asan May ya direktur ka wasen.
So kita amdenge nga of course kita expect ra si pin murura ureren. Nga madri ko member time el direktor malaire ma chivra jail more than 2 years ago temlora huri ping mo inspect ay gal kladel tel jail mga I was thinking was tiam na momre kal blame kada mo mlay gel last kladel me finishing I didn't realize was saying diri ka tukakat migil lay gel blolo mesa klara diri kal berbela and that was 2 years ago. So unfortunately ang ngaria maybe treat mlangan sang sila si IP tirikan mlani ang sila contractor ay kadibla taklado do. So all we know now lead all time tamla mga pesa contractor lawyer they're trying to do everything and finishing it by December. Will it be done by December? Maybe not, but soon after, yes, we're getting there. Abay cloud to tren agimi laudo dra Miguel al muhay singer sel dengi ra oigul global mora dengi sel jail siya by the urori le sedim lang ngara plan under a pact because we have the money one ara adra siya pala se kami ada kal giril dim ngatiu taigal building and more sell the same transmission line giril ngara distribution line mang abay mo challenge ra sa PUC sel mera dun maklaya de gabya siran siya that's what we're working on now. The building is in full speed, so we're hoping it will be very close to being completed by then.
Kada mo hospital, es hospital. To ase kamalaring il mo ngat pa bulwa mamuray ray. Rado oro ase agim law to the alternate site mura hospital es hospital.
So one of the ela kita di kote kadi assume se ngarangat pang ngaray ray because ang adaray ray adangat pang no. Kita umrar say we should find the best site el girel ti alurio al free and clear out el girel. Okay? That's what we need. So the first step of the process agirel ngariam merula feasibility study. So at time there was over 100 interested el bidder sell design and feasibility study. I think I'm narrow down on more 5. Ilaigil nga club la lodar sa mga Amerika, let's say grant ra USTDA, $2 million. Murur sel omsu. Sel bol merek sel omsu. Kita mo maya se ngara best site why? Mugulgi tra se kadmor tuira. Hindi kad mela kador tuira feeling.
Tuira study.
Whether tuira study kita problem kita all remove tra feeling.
Momreg
hala dik paska
momreg after turn.
hala dik paska example ra feeling. Nga kamle secure marine sanctuary. Ulak na secure marine sanctuary, 2 things. Ako lumralo say we were being overexploited. Ang igla di todo relaw, kita de $1 benefit. Mang kadrula abul. Di aigal bula do na say gadi this is tiado ngurgidel dobal manager tial the bela blur belaw. Lo sige ser ko truil gidera raf and make sure aigal galed mtial lugel aklang rigid amal mol mesisi el marano. Aktire ano na say ngirelo tuir omsu. So what has Minister Victor been doing for the last 4 years? Nakan Dr. Omsu. Nater klil wase aigal manguro. I'm sorry, I got a little rebelaw. Ngaria abled itiuta monitoring en lidur tragiri bas mamashal. Maula President Semenak muna wase. President, wala sanctuary. Maktirgam sa na sa dede akati wala mal mol agim na lana ba adidam ngara a border kamil di hortagil el demim mak. Anyway, kita agumra say what's most important, let's use aigal available science, available data, and make a decision based on fact. Abebira time kadar murtra feeling ar CSA, imlabes research say gira der murtra interest ra arangale lablur belaw, el lurtuir raungil, el lomsu, ungil el information, so that we can make the best decision. So yeah, that's the process that so maybe more orior, maybe more irai, maybe more ngatpang. Whatever a feasibility study or to the gida modong okle say ka the evaluate ya say gida agumra say gira del mot makali mol bulu e support.
Dirga block out sum dirga.
Ada.
Tigida las teranga.
Ay.
Akili we adjustment ragar garil grela PPUC. Ingilo abil ngara last month. Sel solar ngaram le help ngira individual customer. At this time. Lego meset ngaria ara dengir nga maara la luo, maara la solar.
So a solar at time provides about 20% ra tel dengil mardre la sales. So that's sell arala a solar al sale say is the 20% ra dengil mosperi. Now a question, I think a deeper question I say arala solar marara they say
exactly.
El seals, they're almost the same. Why? Why are they almost the same? Because 2 things. One, no President Trump nang arala aday sel million. Ongero selmle 14 cents el ulsado niya sing arala dengi.
Projection.
Oh, amral arala dengi. Hindi al sumang ngari extra dengi lengala kersel el 2 peril tilob endiri regla de lo mari. Ngari sel tora reglo se curtailment. Seguidre al time el curtailment au ule sel arala solar odon di 14 cents nikmel di wara la deise because seguidel el nia se do se wal di del dengi de se drosperi. So what is being done? Ablur Australia mablur Asiaval amal blaga lo no se. In fact, Blue Australia, they're going to give us a $16 million grant. Sale grant is to do many things. One, tamna study the system rida say nganegel togol control rigid ra tel ortela dengir rigid diak. So I get shut off mangara. So to upgrade the tel electrical grid. Ashabal amlem la sel transmission line, they continue upgrading. Ongero atamna kasi ngira der smiga battery el additional ngari battery ndigel el blade design ang songos ngira del mutla additional battery at no customer other belaw seruli sel curtailment and mo zero sel bol way segid eng mutel mat telarala a solar, and man moriora they said. But one thing that we've learned, I say, through this process, we know, I say, going into the future, we've learned so much. Now, a cell so other more accomplish a cell reaches 100%, I'm not mobile trigid. Because we know, I say, I'm not upgrade or upgrade gid. I'm not assumo klaigal kagros and issue gid, and we can fix this. So one of the things with the Malay broadcasting era, تقول نرى former president اللي عمري دري ما أربعة our senators أهوسي تيال solar Pacific أما كيترا NG كام دنيا اللي كده عملا meeting المساعدة NG NG عملا بيدر تيجي current البيدر اللي كده عميلو NG سيل دعنا بيد everybody is providing the same دقة كلاروس a difference NG عملا 20 cents a solar Pacific a 14 cents so sell we really are other will I'm less stop sell urior it was a looter more abid so after abid we brought it down by tela almost 30% lemle went from 20 to 14 bering a sell talk sure gid am help other will be gan mention say kam looter or gaditi am looter el bid outri mesela al bid outri sera tur obvious ti already na mamre contract كده دي ملو implementary yes already ملو عمرك contract تملا award رابيد كده دي ملو implementary yes there have been challenges دي question so بنمرين لاتينيا ده قرينا سودر other will be raise the issue نقول له بنجلا Australia تنامس كده grant solve a problem so cell issue is to me by next year March, the good news I say about Mera next year March. By next year March, problem solved. So yes, you will see even less cell charge of solar. A question. Let's go back to the original question. A solar ang a solar el time a provider at 20% radengi. One of the challenges that we have gider sera al commit and mumrur tial solar el top the rabir. Ya ara dengi rablur bela amiral moklo out spell. Sera fane bon break tel plante bala implementriam lang mga tao uspela dengir al sera blur bela. Yeah. So there's things that are happening. One of the things that are happening is Taiwan next year is bringing electric buses for PIF. More electric buses bela. Same mga dengir agreed. Age milador. We're bringing more electric cars and mera blur bela. Sel dang age me age mo help los pertial energy bigida producer. The other thing blalganya Taiwan mamruri. They're going to build a hydrogen plant Palau. This is the first small hydrogen plant that produces hydrogen. So, al sumari other mo mla hydrogen and basal hydrogen and bilas hydrogen will have a plant. Al sel goli tial extra solar al me convert mla hydrogen. Motara operation and sel PUC providing service and more other belo. So these are projects that we're working on because kid omral was and degal sel الكيرا بلول ارو سورس بيكوز مرال مغير دا بلولات يدي ضروري سيرن على that's why كذا مرال ني تقله ملغور هذا بلولات بس بلول على كذا مرول على we need to have embrace new technology create and create energy independence كذا مرال اخر تايم
لا اسمه ده مال بتوق الموت ملاوغي مال بتوق المذئب جرم الموت المي
president elak mas ka temem mga igil so pumdul mon
mga man anyway sir ko bagyan ngal lobo ko nga mal so mi isra nga makmo le alak ko igil ang alak ra gyud sma
ya ari of ko why say mo
di agumra lo sa sel bebirata ingila di blakata akora kasi kada mal diri ngam nomregal ngara memoria ra Francis agumdas aknot mo yung selti yung branches sila at sumarak tirul tomala na dadak ay ama oy hindi agumra lo singira drum katakla toy ile gida de kan ngodal intent gid kadio singira kluna le other belo mangira del in Thanksgiving lang mga kamal so wish ra will Thanksgiving el moral back el familiar al sila blur belo bodo ngar sel spirit ra Thanksgiving bolungin armud raigel el guiam nam skeda robak al dios tial klabo le umil belwat lo el dakira al selemi mokl el seedr ngar tiang e dibei tek muy gel ngar armud len adanga imur ablot la Kasi kamu kalbus, kamu karang. No, we live in a free country. And I think that's the biggest blessing that we have. Taloy ay gal blue. I mean, I got a blessing and very good. But, tangat teleng, you know, to blue lad, namada lulu. I gal program government, I got one church service. Will to go. So we have to look at the positives, you know. Ako pleasure sila angel Prime Minister Australia durang basically masik tiamran got to klebokal blue al sila blue. Hindi kamran mo proud of other belo ase. Kira got to klebokal blue. And we should be proud of other belo. Al kira got lungil blue take caring. And you know tira kalombralo ase. A baby that time. So there was two things that happened this week. One, mera program regulation. Akhlori orang Surangel buiga mlari gal tokol music program the Thanksgiving program ningam na modul gira tokora Thanksgiving. And you know what he talked about? Masadra say baby that time kida we forget to be thankful. Kada focus rabi problem. Mengam nong tiat story rangal kara Israel me emot mautel dissecting was trigai rangal Israel. Ali trigam le sibai Moses amon oititril todo. Matangaram dala Red Sea uknamom di dala ngala se Moses sanamo amal mertia. Eta cross Red Sea marabitam tuk celebrate. Tuk momon dala se ngarama aigaral ma adegal se den wim truleral men mongin. Eta tol sangaram merda mana matamla mana eta momon dala se ngala modal so mo merda kwel matamo mo. Anyway,
Dia model dia kaulo mo. And you know, Adios say, a promised land that take the blue mill, take it. Etamara, I give Dr. Giant. I mean, Manga say, we need to be thankful and we need to look at the positive side. You know, a baby at time of the Dingara negative, and I think Seshuang active remember the Magigarel me Chloe, Katamal Swadal. Katamal. Sige katamal la mal. But that's not healthy. That's actually a type of bullying and putting people down. And then making people feel bad for themselves. You know, at school, they are so sad thing around problem. Why say? Lengulet by Masarandi regide by mo. Kadbay marule Omarta tengarigid because it's not a good thing. Sumula tengarigid by swadal dangarenga makid. I mean, it's stand out there. Yeah. So I think we need to help our children and our society change. We need to lift the kids up. Mental awareness, and I think one of the reasons why. Mental awareness, I mean, a mental health problem, we say the negative atmosphere. Kadang ng okla, masangal di criticize put on ang instead of lifting them up. And I'm guilty of that. Actually, aktirikal mo feel guilty, aktirikal di kami apologize sa mga nalagay kasi Mungsubi sing ab to kay atakal men ang mag-transfer for. Human nature. So we have to help each other. Maral me sa Adam dase, hey, Gamral ula bilem Gamral, you look good, you know. Kita kamala mo ko dalbo. I mean, you know.
Man to Komisang, Deo by la del Gale, Margaret Rogo, other the actually stand out.
Yes.
Oh,
the I think it'll talk to Burma.
Oh, Makwase la hotel Malo by Tamalungi by Igam Corada, Sendia Medria, dress code or Bella, Friday, we have to look good. Why go sell Umesagamo, Mudurang Barde, Kabatong Aklo, Leon Ade, Wills Adam, and Willabilin.
So I same do I say I'm not sorry.
What's that thing in Francis?
You know, I think most importantly we need to instill a cell Giriamal proud other Belau, a Samrial other Abluam, you know, a Kunmesa documentary eli. El Girel Angalangalgara Apolabe, Nalgara, Dennis Yamase, Nicole Yamase. Mlorsel Dilo or Marianas Trench. First Micronesian. Ningam na interview ra kakano sila ate, especially tirang Micronesian nga Hawaii. Tirang rule wasa king atara Micronesia.
Tumurul atara Micronesia.
You know, sa kada mo feel dekal.
You know,
Because maybe ngari atal milera baby rigid mga we should never be embarrassed rasik other belang. Never. Ngiri man proud rasik other belang. The orom the ori. You know, sige se ako mas other brigela. That's what Trump is all about. Marwa Ben Carson the proud of other brigela. Selins you shouldn't be embarrassed. Diwa ka-Kristiyano, you shouldn't be hiding Kristiyano. You should be spreading the light. Teka mo martyring. I think that's, but, you know, it's human nature. Makatakay nga sayo. And I think that's part of our responsibility. So, in Family Day, in Thanksgiving, let's enjoy each other. Let's continue to lift each other up. Ma'am Sula.
Ang la President el altalsigang al game cook la o taw de suelo ma o singel gire la puluatra el al administration ngi e gidire kon meringa sule la mos em dinga ka tuak la ako mama average of like 2,000 ada okay karama bisel omeng apen mo nga 3-4 mang dire ko lungit ka mama gi mga sulem kemana sudah Presiden. Takubet si program kemana Presiden early afternoon. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Kita